Hello summoners and welcome back to Mobalytics, where today we have a video talking about Ornn after he receives some changes, talking about how good he is right now and how he will be in the next coming patches. So Ornn received some changes and some tuning up for Season 9. The main reason that Riot felt inclined to change Ornn around is because of the disparity between his success in high elo and more often competitive 5v5 play versus his total lack of success and his 40-something% win rate in the rest of solo queue. Before these changes, even if on a tier list for climbing we would put Ornn somewhere around the D or F tier range, he was still being picked in competitive play. That being said, there were a couple big changes to his passive around the masterwork items, and he got his unstoppable back on his W, so let's see if he is unstoppable once again. Laying all the cards out on the table, truth be told, Ornn is, well, bad. Like, really, really bad. Even if some of these clips, he may seem pretty darn good, maybe I'm just the Ornn faker, who knows, but let me tell you, this champion is awful compared to before. There is some good news, however, and all hope is not lost, thankfully, because there are some upsides. First and foremost, Riot is planning to buff him literally on the next patch. This is a saving grace because now Ornn is struggling in the laning phase, having no shield on his W, and it ruins some of his outplay potential and his trading potential. Even though he still has his unstoppable back on his W, it's much worse than before. I would say that this Reddit post about his W and why the unstoppable is bad pretty much sums it up and sums up the reason why it is bad. This post by Verismir a couple days ago on the Ornn mains Reddit said, I tested it with a Morgana bot in the practice tool, and apparently what Rito gave to our Ornn is just a pseudo unstoppable. During your W, you're unstoppable, but the remaining time of CC will be applied afterwards. In my opinion, this is ridiculous. This unstoppable is only able to effectively block CC under 0.75 seconds, which is basically only a displacement mainly present in the bottom lane. To negate some of your regular stuns, you are forced to buy tenacity. Now, all that being said, there is one thing to be sure of, in that Ornn's passive is much better than before. Even though you're kinda sitting and waiting to hit level 13 now, I do still think it's much better. Once you hit 13, you automatically upgrade up to 2 of your own Ornn items. So if by level 13 you already have a Sunfire Cape and an Iceborne Gauntlet, both pretty cheap items, you will upgrade both of them automatically. For obvious reasons, this is a massive power spike to play around, and you become deadly on your 2 masterwork items, since no other champion can immediately compete with you at level 13, 2 items versus 2 items, assuming you're more or less equally fed. After level 14, you can start upgrading your teammates' items, one at a time. Each of your teammates also can only have 1 masterwork item each, but just as with your items, it's completely free to do so. So at level 14, you can upgrade your Kha'Zix's Ghostblade for him, at level 15, you can upgrade your Ezreal's Trinity Force, at level 16, you can upgrade your Katarina's Zanya's, and at level 17, your Soraka's Redemption, so on and so on. The reason this is nice for your teammates is because before, a lot of players on Ornn's team would get baited into buying upgraded items too early. Because you would rarely play with Ornn, it's kinda like a nervous tick where you just have to upgrade your items. It's fun, it's different. I gotta get that Rabadon's Death Crown for all that AP, even though it would waste all your gold and ruin your actual build path. Now that it's free to do and catered towards late game, it feels a lot more natural and feels like it should have been that way to begin with. I was able to find a lot more success with Ornn by taking Ignite in the laning phase. I think it's almost a necessity. Ornn still has some good damage and kill pressure with Ignite in laning phase, and for solo queue you'll often feel like finding that perfect TP flank isn't better than just starting off the laning phase strong. There is a big difference between hoping and praying that your gold teammates will drop a ward for that perfect TP with your ultimate, rather than just taking the initiative yourself and starting off the laning phase 3-0, then going ahead and roaming with your lead. One more thing about Ornn is that now his combo of Q into E is easier to execute than before. The delay in which it takes your Q to become a pillar is now shorter, so you can almost instantly press your Q into your E and get that knockup. This feels intuitive and great, and is a very welcome change. Lastly, I think Ornn's support actually isn't that bad either. He's not great in laning phase, but since a lot of bot lane players aren't used to playing against a good Ornn, if you're able to CC them with your E close to a wall, and you use your ultimate to hard engage and dive towers, I think it can work pretty well, especially once the buffs come in. All that being said, Ornn definitely still has some problems at the moment, and that's why I conclude he should still be around B tier. Now, it may surprise you at first why I would still say B tier and not off the list entirely, but hear me out, let me try to explain why. First of all, he is not likely to be nerfed at all. In fact, the polar opposite. We know for sure that he is receiving some buffs. This means that learning him might be a pretty good time investment, and I could easily see him being good in 2 patches or maybe even sooner right on the next patch. The second thing is that he's rarely banned due to everyone seeing he has such a bad win rate, meaning if you're good at Ornn, you'll be able to get your hands on him a lot. It'll rarely be picked away or banned away from you. Climbing in solo queue has a lot to do with your opponents not understanding strengths and you being able to take advantage of them. And if Ornn receives some nice buffs on the next patch, not only will he be pretty good, but also your opponents will constantly underestimate your damage. Ornn definitely has that surprise factor in his kit, even with how much damage he has, so don't be afraid to give him a try, especially since he will receive some buffs very soon. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you thought of this video and of Ornn in the comment section down below. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials and check out the product at mobalytics.gg, your all-in-one platform for improving and getting better at League of Legends.